We all want to be seen, but what happens when the world actually sees you? Everyone wants fame or success, but few people are actually prepared for the perception that comes with it. So we're gonna talk about why being seen is actually so hard. I also have the fear of being judged and had to get comfortable being perceived. Even making this video is not something that I would have done 5 years ago. So let's talk about how being perceived actually makes you more vulnerable and why our brains are avoiding that. Our brains are actually not wired for mega visibility because our brains perceive visibility as a threat. If you think about how humans have evolved as a species, we are wired to blend in with our community, to not be rejected from our tribe. Because if you think about in the prehistoric days, we needed each other to survive. It was a primal survival response to the fear of rejection. If you got cast out from your community, you might have to find your own food, find your own shelter. You might get attacked by a bear. And so our brains think that it's really important to blend in. Now there is also what's called the spotlight effect, which basically means that you think that people are perceiving you far more than they actually are, even if you are in the spotlight. These reasons are why you might be called to build a bigger platform or stand out more, but why you're holding yourself back. Perception is actually an art form, and there are things that you can actually do to increase your ability to be perceived. Let's use social media, for example. If you want to be creating content and you can't get yourself to actually do it, it's probably because you're trying to make it all perfect before you actually have the skill that's behind it. Instead of focusing on making it perfect right away, I want you to try to get as many failures in as possible. If you knew for a fact that you were going to have to fail on 100 different posts before one of them actually took off, you'd probably want to get to that 100th one a lot faster. So instead of having the end goal to be successful, I actually want you to change so your end goal is to fail as many times as possible. This is really tricky because when you're creating social media, you're essentially rehearsing in public. People around you are going to be able to see when you're not really good at what you're doing yet. It's actually in these real life moments that you build the skill of being perceived. Like when you make a post, it flops and maybe someone screenshots it and accidentally DMs it to you. Or maybe your family asks why you're doing the whole content thing. These are actually the micro moments in your real life that help you create the ability to be perceived. And ultimately, most of the time, we're not actually even afraid of failing. We're afraid of succeeding, and we're afraid of being seen in success. Have you ever had a time where you were successful and people around you were jealous of you, or maybe they thought that you were a show off, or maybe they compared themselves to your success and then tried to make you feel bad about it? That is actually what's at the root of you creating success that you know that you're meant for. And again, this is because our brains are wired to survive in herd mentality. However, if you want to stand out and do something new, do something that your family hasn't done, do something different from your community, maybe you want to switch vocations, that is going to trigger your brain's response to thinking that you're going to be abandoned and left alone. And what's also really interesting about creating fame, which is just the resource of having people's attention, is that when you create this resource, it actually creates a mirror to society. You become a karmic mirror where you are going to reflect back other people's perceptions of you and other people's perceptions of themselves. So if you go on to create something that someone else is too afraid to actually go after themselves, they're going to start projecting onto you. They're going to start making comments to you. You're going to become accountable for who you are becoming in a much more real way. So what is the actual technique to this art form? Well, it comes down to 4 things. First, daily grounding. Second, visibility journaling. Third, gratitude. And fourth, digital boundaries. So let's dissect these more. So the first is daily grounding. These are all of those things that are very simple, but doing them is not actually that easy. Getting outside, touching grass, exercise, meditation, doing the things that actually keep your body and your nervous system in a good space. Which ties into the second, which is visibility journaling. This is where you really get your brain on board with the changes that you're making. Now, of course, working with a therapist or a coach can be really helpful, but even journaling every day to bring awareness to what thoughts are running through your mind. What is your brain trying to protect you from? What are you afraid of? Who are you worried about perceiving you? Finding this awareness is really going to help you stay anchored in your vision so that you can stay committed to your goals. Now, third is to celebrate being seen. Our brains are always wired to look for the things that are going wrong, so you have to be very intentional about bringing your brain to focus on the fact that you are putting yourself out there. This can feel like a practice of gratitude, but gratitude for yourself and for your message and for the ability to put your voice out there every single day. Be grateful that your message matters, even if you haven't found the audience for it yet. That energy of gratitude is what actually draws people in and makes them excited to be a part of what you're creating. And fourth is digital boundaries. I'm a big fan of moderating what information is coming into your brain, and sometimes this looks like unfollowing or muting certain channels so that you are very strict and regimented about what's coming into your brain to help you stay focused on your vision. Decide with intention when you are going to be consuming and spend the rest of your energy creating instead. Now, of course, you're going to want a community of people who understand what you're going through and can help you validate and support you in your ideas. But the truth is, this can be a lonely journey at first. When you first start putting your voice out there, a lot of people aren't going to fully understand or be on board with what you're creating. And that's not a problem. That's actually an opportunity for you to clarify and understand your vision at an even deeper level. So many people wait to get started until the people around them are on board with their ideas, but that can actually stop your progress from helping you find the best version of your ideas and keep you from creating your potential. So get used to being a lone wolf and going out and trying new things. I had a client who was a mega celebrity, and she actually had this big following, the entire team, support, and community behind her, and it actually stopped her from creating at her highest level. We see this all the time with celebrities who almost become one-hit wonders, or their first album is so much better than their following ones because on the first one, they actually went out and followed their own intuition and trusted their own voices. But then as they continued onward, their community, their support, and their team kind of got in their heads and they started trying to cater to other people's opinions. That is why your relationship to yourself is the most important part of the art of being perceived. Getting really clear on your intuition and in your voice is what is going to help you not only stand out and get your big break, but have longevity in your career. The art of being perceived is ultimately a journey of self-discovery, and it can also take a lot of time. Fame, influence, and even small-scale visibility is a teacher in disguise. If you've ever been afraid of being seen, this is your sign to step in. And if you're still needing community to support you in your journey of visibility, I've created the Self-Made Celebrity, which is my monthly membership, which helps artists, creatives, influencers, and entrepreneurs create the resource of fame through regulating themselves and learning the art form of perception. I would love to work with you. All of the information is in the description below. But in the meantime, don't forget that being perceived is part of your artistry. I'll see you in the next video.